We don't judge in this.
Yeah,
house.
no judge. No
Listen,
safe zone.
we'll
We may
gladly
not
go down to
judge, but we are definitely live, gentlemen.
All right.
We'll gladly go down to Harry Hines. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Camp/Slash Horrorcast. We talk horror movies from the past every Monday at 8 p.m. live on Twitch. My name is Duck. I am here with my other camp counselors. We have David. Hell is just a word. The reality is much worse. Jessup. David, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking.
Fuck yeah. And then we have Jay. This place is a tomb. McClintock. Jay, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. I just got my second dose of vaccine, so we'll see how the night progresses.
Hopefully it goes well, dude. We got a full week full of shows over there, so it's going to be crazy. Next, we got Ethan. You can't leave. She won't let you. Eastwood. Ethan, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, I was doing all right, and then, okay. All right, Doc.
And then you had to watch. Then you had to watch
David
this movie.
the Hell one. Okay, I see how it is.
Hey, listen. Okay. We also got Austin. Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see. McDonald. Austin, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm real good.
Happy birthday.
Birthday boy.
Happy
birthday boy, 32.
Happy birthday. All right, 32 years old. Austin decided that we were going to watch Event Horizon for his birthday. So we got to get into our histories. But first, I'm going to give a description of the movie. I always fail to do so. So when the Event Horizon, a spacecraft that vanished years earlier, suddenly reappears, a team is dispatched to investigate the ship. Accompanied by the Event Horizon's creator, William Weir, Sam Neill, the crew of the Lewis and Clark, led by Captain Miller, Lawrence Fishburne, begins to explore the seemingly abandoned vessel. However, it soon becomes evident that something sinister resides in its corridors and that the horrors that befell the Event Horizon's previous journey are still present. That is a brief, badly read synopsis of the movie. Let's get into our history.
That was easy for you to say.
Oh, dude.
That one was for you, Jake.
I'm just saying, Jack Daniels shouldn't do that before I read the description. Austin, what's your history with the movie? Why did you decide this was our birthday movie for you?
So this was the only movie that in my life actually scared the shit out of me the first time I watched it. And I was not young whenever I watched this. I was 23 or 24, and it was the middle of the night. And I may have been high. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But I just remember by the end of the movie, it was like 3 a.m, and it turned off. And it was the first time in my life I was like, I cannot go to sleep right now. It really fucked with my head, and I had to watch like 4 hours of documentaries on Netflix until I was able to fall asleep.
Gotta soothe it out. Yeah,
I don't know why it hit me the way that it did, but it just and so whenever it was my turn to pick a movie, I was like, that's the only movie that really honestly has ever scared me in any way. Yeah. So
no, I agree with you. This movie is terrifying. David, how about you? What's your history with Event Horizon?
I saw the movie when it came out. I was really excited to see it. And I absolutely hated it. And I hadn't watched it since until like Saturday, and I still absolutely hate it.
Oh,
so there we go.
We're going to have this conversation because I know Jay's chomping at the bit to have this conversation with you because we've already pre-gamed this a little bit. Jay, what's your history with the movie?
My history of this movie, it takes a while for me to get there. It's actually, you have to go back to 1993. Jurassic Park had just come out, and it was my first ever exposure to Sam Neill. I don't know how it was for you guys, but I'd never heard of him before. And after Jurassic Park, his character, Dr. Alan Grant, was basically the heir apparent to Indiana Jones. I mean, it's considered at the time was the biggest movie ever made, and he was the main actor. So he was, a superstar basically overnight. And then a couple years later on HBO, they had a series of different, franchises they would play as they are wont to do. And on this occasion, they had all 4 of the Omen movies. And
yes,
the Omen movies, in case anyone doesn't know, they're all about the Antichrist. The Antichrist has a name, and his name is Damien Thorne. And in the 3rd movie, it's called The Final Conflict. And in this one, Damien Thorne is in his early 30s. He is the head of a huge corporation who has sights of becoming the president. What does that sound like? I don't know. I'll let you discuss amongst yourselves. However, he was played in this movie by Sam Neill. And that movie had come out, 12 years before Jurassic Park. And I was like, well, this guy has some range. And then it was even more ironic that like a month later, And then Mouth of Madness came out, and I was like, okay, Sam Neill, you're crazy, man. If you're in it, I'm going to fuck with it. And then, of course, 2 years after that, he did Event Horizon. I was a big Fangoria reader. I knew about this movie coming in. I knew everything about it. I watched all the things about it. I'd seen Alien probably 10 times before I saw Event Horizon, so I was very well versed in what I was kind of expecting. And I walked into it thinking one thing, and I walked out being very pleasantly surprised. And I'll leave it at that for now.
Right on. Yeah, I would say my history with this movie, I was terrified of horror movies when I was younger, even into my teen years. It wasn't until I was 16, 17 when I watched Night of the Living Dead finally that opened the floodgates and horror became my thing and just whatever I could take in. But Event Horizon was the one movie that I remember to this day terrifying me. And it was the imagery that stuck with me. I didn't remember much about the movie. Watching it today, couldn't have told you anything storyline wise. I could tell you two things. I could tell you the rape orgy scene that scared the shit out of me, and at the end when Sam Neill had his eyes sewn shut, I remember that was terrifying. But other than that, couldn't remember anything else other than Lawrence Fishburne was like awesome in this movie. Like he was like a boss of this movie, and Sam Neill was an amazing bad guy. But rewatching it today, for me, it really stood the test of time. Maybe a little bit of my fear from my childhood came creeping back in, but it totally worked for me despite the bad CGI, which we'll get into. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and we will talk more about that in a second. Ethan, do you have any history with the movie?
None whatsoever. I've never heard of it, never seen it. This is my first exposure to Event Horizon, and I'm not going to lie, gentlemen. I side with David Jessup on this one.
Fuck yeah, you do. You know why? Because you have taste, motherfucker.
And, throughout this whole movie, there was parts of it I enjoyed. I loved some of the set pieces. The CGI is really dated. There's things like that. But there's so many fucking plot holes in this movie and dumb things, especially done at the end. The end is way too hasty. And I would just like to kind of show you one of these. Duck, if you would, I made a little something that y'all might enjoy this. Duck, if you would, please. It's going to play this clip twice. First time, it's the regular clip. See if you can spot what I'm talking about here.
If I can get it to run.
Second time.
And just so you know, I did not get with Ethan and plan this attack out, okay, guys? So just so you know, I wasn't texting Ethan behind your back, and I was like, listen, man, I am the only one here.
Help me. I need you to side with me.
I will buy you a hooker if you just side with me. And a good one, too. Not Harry Hines. We're talking like Ross Avenue Uptown hooker.
Okay.
Going down, Harry Hines.
So keep in mind, this is going to play the clip twice. So one time, and then we can pause it after that, see if you caught it. If not, the next time it'll show you. So this may be loud.
Okay.
Did anyone catch that, other than my Mimi bullshit I threw in there? Did anyone see something wrong with that?
The seconds are off?
No. Okay, go ahead and go through, Duck.
All right. 5, 4, 3.
What is that?
Arm.
It's not arm.
Oh, disarm.
There's literally a fucking button there. He could have hit it.
I love that. That's the reason why that still bothers you.
The whole
He
movie
had
The whole
6
movie.
seconds. 6 seconds. He's staring at it. He's
That's great.
staring
My
at
first
this.
thought was, why didn't he disarm it? Like, and it was there the whole time.
There's a
God damn.
button, and you can go back and double check. There's a little thing on the side. It's not activating or arming the detonator. That's what the little control on the side is for. Do you link the detonator? Do you want to activate the detonator? No. This is to arm and de-arm the bomb. He would have had to just... and he would have been fine.
This is what happens when a person who plays way too much Call of Duty watches a horror movie. if that's your problem.
I
with the
mean,
movie, then
I'd
I'm gonna have
rather
to-
try to disarm a bomb in the 6 seconds I have than just fucking cry and eat it.
if that scene is your biggest gripe, then I'm gonna have no problem defending this movie. That's all I got to say.
Bring it on.
All right. That's,
Well, it's
Because,
also easy to write off and just say, well, the guy, he's not the weapons tech guy, so he doesn't know that there's a disarm button. He just sees 3,
It
2, 1.
says disarm in front of his face!
to be fair, I didn't see it, and I don't think anyone else did except for you, Ethan. So
It's
you were
big
the
enough
only
that
one
you
that
can
survived
read
this
it.
explosion.
Like, come
I
on!
think the guy was more like, ah, shit, I'm gonna die on this ship.
Yeah, it's there's plot holes throughout this whole movie, and one thing that you said that does hold water, and I will explain why. The second half of the movie goes by way too quickly, and it doesn't build the same suspense the first half does, and there's a reason. This movie is missing 30 minutes, and the reason it's missing 30 minutes is the original cut was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And when they showed it to executives and test audiences, they said the gore was too intense. And so they ended up cutting a large portion of the gore out of it. Now, the studio, I believe it was Paramount, didn't see in the dailies how much gore was being filmed and how much of the actual horror was being made. So they were shocked when it finally came to the movie being screened. 2 years later, the executive who made the decision to cut the movie down decided that he made a mistake, went back to Paul W.S. Anderson and said, we should do a director's cut. The only problem with that was the footage was already gone. So there is no director's cut. There's the unrated version, which I think most of us watched, which did add a little bit of gore, I believe. But other than that, that's what we're looking at. The second half of the movie is missing a lot of what would have built up a lot of the logic behind it. Now, with that said, the movie still works for me. So let's get into the conversation. Jay, do you want to begin?
I mean, we can. I can back cleanup if someone else wants to take it, but I mean, like
Round 1, fight.
I mean, that's the way it's going to be. Like, so we'll find out why in a second. What's David going to get? I'm
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I need my tag team buddy here. Back me up, David.
All right.
Back me up.
He's going to get
Austin.
the analytics. He's going to get the analytics.
Austin, we're on the same page here. This movie terrifies us. Like, you said you saw it in your 20s. I saw it initially in my teen years, you know. What is it about this movie that works for you and makes it so terrifying?
You hit the nail on the head, exactly what you said. And it's the same thing I've always said about this movie. It's the imagery from some of those gore scenes, from the weird ship scene, you know, when they find the found footage. It's the imagery of Sam Neill with his eyes missing. It's everything that was in his cut up face towards the end. I think mostly it was the found footage that they find is what messed me up the most. But all that imagery I actually really enjoy in the movie, the cut up face and his eyes missing and everything like that. But it definitely sticks with you. It's definitely something you even years later, I hadn't watched it since I watched it the first time, and I remember those things. I didn't remember a lot about the movie, but I remember those things.
Well, I think you're right too. You said that you basically had to take a cold shower of documentaries of reality.
Just give me something boring for the next 4 hours so my heart can settle down.
Right, and I feel the same way. Even watching it today, I'm not going to say I didn't turn the lights on at one point because I was like, this is getting to me. And a lot of the suspense is earned in the beginning, and it disappears towards the ending, and it becomes more of the jump scare and the vicious imagery of the movie. But for me, like the concept of hell, being raised Christian, sits deep within my soul. So whenever you deal with anything that deals with hell, and this movie kind of, I think it inspired Doom 3 because that movie, or the game itself, you know, like
Dead Space.
And
Dead Space,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's something about that, the idea of the ship going, you know, skipping through time, doing the paper folding in half, just like they did in Interstellar. And
that trope that has been done in so many movies now.
Right, the black hole idea of like we can bend this time and space, and the idea that it traveled somewhere else, somewhere evil. And
well, so I wanted to pick this movie because I love sci-fi movies, and I'm not a big horror movie guy. So I thought this was the perfect movie to bring over here. And what I love about it is I love a lot of the sci-fi in it. I love the idea that this ship travels to another dimension, and that dimension is a chaos dimension, and it comes back, and when it comes back, the ship itself almost has like a soul, or like an evil incarnation of a soul or something, where it's changed in that universe, and it comes back, and it's a whole new entity. you know. So I love that sci-fi element of it. I love a lot of the sci-fi, and I actually think a lot of the effects in this movie hold up pretty well. I love the gravity core center. I think that's a cool looking shot when it's just spinning the whole time. I was impressed. I think a lot of the water CGI they used was kind of bad, but water CGI only in the last few years has actually become manageable for studios to do. So the fact that they took a risk and it looked okay, I think is a huge achievement back in '97.
Oh yeah, and some of the CGI is bad. And the reason why is the effects house they went with was not a top tier effects house. This movie was on a budget of I think 60 million, and they used a large portion of it for one of the explosions. So a lot of the effects that are done were very low budget. Now in 1997, you might get away with that, but now like they don't hold up, especially the floating objects and stuff like that. It looks terrible. But it does set the atmosphere for what's going on, and you feel like you're in space the whole time. Like you never question it. Like this feels like a space movie. And
I love the ship too. I love the like grunginess of the ship, and like the set pieces are really good. And I think somebody said that earlier. Yeah, the set pieces are amazing in it.
Yeah, definitely feels lived in. And then when you get to the actual Event Horizon, it almost has like a monastery type feel, like a church, I should say.
It was based on the cathedral in France.
Okay, so it was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
very gothic
Yeah,
look.
it was. And if you notice too, towards the end, a couple of the rooms are shaped like coffins.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
The doorways are shaped like coffins.
I noticed.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say on the wall, the window itself, the big window at the end is an inverted cross. You know what I mean? Like,
It was all designed on they went to the Sistine Chapel in Paris, France, and they designed the Event Horizon around that. And so you'll see a lot of stained glass. And I will say this about the movie. I think it holds up. The set pieces hold up today. That circular thing spinning around still holds up today. Yeah, it still holds up today. It's so cool looking. And the set pieces,
the gravity drive itself.
Yeah, the gravity drive is amazing. And I have no issue. I have no issue with the look of the film. I think it's one of the best looking sci-fi horror films ever made. My issue with it is the man who directed it and the film itself. And you're right, Duck. The reason why it falls apart towards the end is it's missing 30 minutes. There are scenes that you're like, there's one scene where Sam Neill goes from being super evil to like being super nice, and he has blood in his face. And you're like, what the fuck? Well, there's a scene missing. There's something missing there. But my people will say this movie could have been really good if we could have found those 30 minutes. I disagree with you. And if you guys would like, I would like to take this time to break out my analytics, if you don't mind.
What are these analytics? Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. So, here we go.
It's just a piece of paper that says it sucks on it.
No.
It's 2.
So, what I did is I always go to Rotten Tomatoes, and the reason why is I like that they use critics, and I like that they use audience scores. And so what I did is I took the critics and the audience score, and I made an average. And so what I first did is I first took the 20 films that we've watched since I've been a part of the cast. Okay. And I took the audience score and the critic score, and I put them together. Event Horizon comes up as the third worst film we've watched since I've come on board, with a score of 40. It's right above Holidays at 38, and Ginger Dead Man is dead last at 28.
Wait, Thanksgiving is ranked.
Okay. I'm about to. So this.
So your analytics are moved.
No. This is where, and Austin brings up a good point. The problem with Thanksgiving, and also the problem with Perfect Blue, is that doesn't have any critic scores. So Thanksgiving is so shitty, none of the critics bothered to watch it. So Thanksgiving
it exists.
Yeah, Thanksgiving has a score of 42. So it's right above Silent Night, Deadly Night, and it's right there at 42. So Thanksgiving is at 42 because it's only an audience score. Right. But if you take the average of an audience score and a critic score, you kind of get an idea of where a film goes. And so then I went a little bit deeper to the director. Now, what's interesting about the director, originally his name was Paul Anderson, but he had to change it to Paul W.S. Anderson because another director came along called Paul Anderson who did Boogie Nights and was like, oh shit, this guy's amazing. This
Right.
other guy is like, I got to start putting initials between my first and last name. I got to separate these two things. Now, what's messed up about Paul Anderson is, I don't know if you guys were aware of this. He chose to direct Event Horizon because he wanted to do an evil, bloody sci-fi movie. Did you realize that he was pegged to do the X-Men?
I did not know that until today. I was shocked
Yeah.
to find out about that.
And we are so lucky he did not get directed the X-Men. You know why? Because of Paul Anderson's movies. I did the average of all of them. The highest score he has is a 59. And that's with the recent Monster Hunter, which just came out, which was a huge financial failure. Most of his movies, his average of all his movies is 41. The guy has never gone above 60. The guy is an awful director. But you might be asking yourself, Dave, how does this guy keep on getting work? You know how he gets work? 2 words, Resident Evil. Those fucking franchises cost nothing to make and have made hundreds of millions of dollars. So the guy keeps on getting work, because if you're a betting man and you're like, this guy, okay, his movies suck, but dude, his movies make a ton of money. You're gonna keep on giving the guy money. So
it's an interesting point. I like that you took it there, because we actually talked about this at work the other night, me and Jay. Jay asked me what I thought about the Resident Evil movies. And I think as canon to the series, they're terrible. But as action schlock, they're so much fun. They're ridiculous, over the top, mindless, and I see why people like them.
And made a shit, dude. They would cost like $20 million to make and would gross like $300 million worldwide. It is crazy. Also, the director Paul Anderson did the 2 first Mortal Kombat movies. Same thing. Cost nothing to make. Made a shit ton of money.
He didn't do the second Mortal Kombat movie.
Okay, sorry.
Because he was busy making Event Horizon.
Gotcha.
And then Soldier after that, which is
Soldier. Yeah, Soldier got a 29. That's actually his lowest rated movie. Is Soldier. Yeah.
I will say Mortal Kombat, the original, still holds up for me. I think it's a great movie. Does it have flaws? Sure. Is it a product of the 90s? Absolutely. Is it a good movie? Yes. And it is highly watchable. This cult movie, 100%. We're seeing right now the divide. This is a cult movie. It did not do financially well. It was not received well. But if you read the IMDb trivia, I did not know this either. Kurt Russell screened this movie with Paul W.S. Anderson before making Soldier. And he said, don't worry about what's happening now. In 15 years, you're going to be super happy you made this movie, because it's a cult movie. And I think that's the way the nostalgia plays on it. Like me and Austin were saying, and even Jay, Jay's going to back up. Jay's got some points in this movie that are absolutely killer. Especially, I mean, do you want to get into them, Jay? You said you wanted to play kind of defense on this.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to strike the record everything David said, because every movie, and this is the biggest reason. This is the biggest reason why. David, I want you to strike every ounce of information you have after 1998. You cannot condemn a man for his early works based on his later works.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. You brought a very enthusiastic, charismatic,
condemnation of this.
Yeah, but a lot of it comes way after the fact. So let's talk about a few of the things about this movie it was compared in a lot of ways in 1997 to David's favorite movie.
Yep.
Alien.
Well, it's because Jay has several scenes that are completely ripped off from Alien.
I didn't notice that until...
David, I couldn't agree with you more on so many levels, and maybe not the way you want me to.
Homage, is that the word?
You are right that Alien did so much before Event Horizon did. So much. As a matter of fact, Alien managed to rip off way more movies than even Event Horizon could even hope to, but it did it 20 years earlier, so we give it a pass. Dan O'Bannon, the acclaimed writer of Alien, is famously quoted as saying that he did not steal the idea for Alien from anyone. He stole it from
everyone.
Well, hold on.
Okay. Yes, you're right.
You got your list. And the difference between your list and my list is my list of movies that Alien ripped off, they all came before 1979. So We're going to start right off at the top with 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
A movie that basically showed how realistic life could be in space. So we could talk about that. That's just a little one. Ooh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. Now this one was only a year before Alien, but it was still before. This was Donald Sutherland. It's definitely talking about the chilling story of humanity losing a very small silent war against a cunning invader. Let's go. War of the Worlds. But I mean, every sci-fi movie borrowed from War of the Worlds, so we'll give them all a pass on that. The Andromeda Strain. That's one that also talked about. It's got that very much mankind against something new, which the Alien definitely was.
It from outer space.
Well, I'm getting there. Don't worry. I got this, buddy. The Thing from Another World. Obviously
definitely.
The Thing.
Yeah,
and so when people say The Thing from '82 is a ripoff of Alien, they need to shut their fucking mouth too, because they're both taken from The Thing from Outer Space. Now let's go to the more outright ripoffs.
Okay.
Now, I gave you the appetizers. Now time for the entree.
Okay.
Forbidden Planet literally has the robotic character playing an important role, and the menace itself is born from human error. And here's the three that were obviously, to some people, Alien can literally be considered a remake of It, the Terror from Beyond Space.
Yes.
Almost to a T.
Yes.
This one I only seen recently, but holy shit. Almost shot for shot a couple places. Planet of the Vampires. Oh my God. That scene where they go to that other, and it has the mist and everything, and the skeleton remains. Total almost shot for shot with the space jockey. And the only other one that I'd say it really, really kind of chomped a little bit off of was Queen of Blood. Queen of Blood is another movie where they have a humanoid humanoid alien creature that actually lays eggs.
Okay.
And also Planet of the Vampires. The only other thing is that the aliens actually take over the bodies. Kind of similar, but here's where that's the only times it rips it off. This is where this is where Dan O'Bannon does an amazing job. Dan O'Bannon, helped on Star Wars, so he helped create that what we call future aesthetic. And that future aesthetic we see in Alien, Star Wars, because he worked on Star Wars too. Another movie that you could say inspired Alien, which is Dark Star, which is a movie he did with John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And then of course, I think we give Alien a big old pass for a couple of reasons. H.R. Giger. And it's a really well-directed movie. Yeah. By a very accomplished director named Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Now, even in their own careers, I would say that Paul W. Anderson was, I guess, kind of similar in age, close to age to Ridley Scott, comparatively to his movies. But this is literally like what you'd call it like his sophomore project, at least when it comes to big mainstream blockbuster.
It's second, yeah. But it was Ridley Scott's second big movie too.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But my thing is, I think that you're looking at two different directors that were meant to do two different things.
Okay.
I think Paul W.S. Anderson, he's kind of like the AC/DC of directors. All of his movies have a very similar sound, but he's never trying to be something he's not. He never has been. And so I think with this movie, he wanted to create a movie that mixed Christine with The Haunting, with Hellraiser, with Alien, with Shining. Well, he'd even tell you it's more The Haunting
with
than
just
Shining.
a sprinkle of Stargate with the fucking black hole portal there.
But actually, if you want to talk about that actually comes from the movie The Black Hole. That's a Disney movie where they actually do go through a black hole, and it is determined that based on who you are, depends on where you go. You remember that one, of course, right, David?
Dude, I have Maximilian.
That's what I'm saying. Like their depiction of hell, they actually show you hell in that one. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he took a bunch of different movies, he put them in a mixing bowl, and it was a very ambitious project. And I think that in this regard, especially with the actors he had, I think what works for this movie does work very well. I think Sam Neill crushes it. I think that Paul W. Anderson makes some very bold choices that no one had really done before. I couldn't tell you the last time we had a sci-fi movie with a black male lead. I couldn't tell you the one before this. If you can, please let me know. The
Matrix, maybe, kind of. That's not even a lead, though. And that was after,
Yeah, and it was the same guy. And it's the same guy. Yeah. I mean, he makes really, really intense choices. He makes and between the two movies, even between Alien and this movie, I find the characters in Event Horizon actually interesting. And you know what I mean by that is Ridley Scott has this way of making really unlikable people your main star. And so like Sigourney Weaver, you know, if you watch Alien again, she's a space Karen. She's 100% a space
Oh
Karen.
yes,
And
we
the
are not
only-
letting them in. We're breaking protocol. We're not
And
letting them in.
And then she asks to speak to the
Space
alien
Karen.
manager. She has
Yeah.
to speak to the alien manager, and
Yeah.
he comps her meal. And the only other character in that movie more unlikable than her is the cat. And guess who else gets to live? The fucking cat. But no, I just think in this movie,
The Space
again,
Karen is so perfect.
I just think that Paul W.S. Anderson, what he wants to do in movies, he successfully does. And I think in this movie, he does introduce a lot of explosions. He does bring out this idea of hell in space. I had never seen a movie that did hell just so vibrantly, at least in a space setting, than this one. It was very fresh, but at the same time, yeah, I think at the time it missed a little bit of a mark. I think it was a movie just, plagued with some really bad timing. And you probably could have used a better director. But I'm glad this movie was made. I really am glad this movie was made.
Well, I will say this about it, and I think it is a shame that we don't have the longer version, because I know I shit on him because I do think he's an awful director, but I think he's a good video game director. You know, he's probably the best video game director that we have.
He's definitely better than Uwe Boll.
Oh, Jesus. Don't fucking mention that guy.
We need to watch one of his movies.
Oh, my
100%.
God.
100%.
And, you know, it is a shame because I think video games have a lot to say. I think BioShock would be an amazing movie.
I know another
Yeah.
person in this chat is for that.
Dude,
Yeah.
they have fucked up video game movies for so long, and BioShock is just another tick on that. I mean, there was a BioShock movie in the works for the longest time, but
The guy that directed the Pirates, the guy that directed Pirates of the Caribbean was supposed to do it, but they wouldn't let him do R.
They wouldn't let him do
R.
R rating, and then they also cut his budget. And he said, no, if we can't get an R rating, and if I can't get enough money to make this, then it's not going to be worth me doing. And they just killed it.
Can y'all think of any video game movie ever made where the fans were actually happy besides Mortal Kombat?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, other than Mortal. Oh,
I love the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah,
was
people love it.
everything I wanted it to be and more.
However, the Sonic the Hedgehog had been made into like 8 or 9 different TV shows before it became a movie. So I don't think it technically counts.
I think Jay's also talking about like adult themed video game movies.
I know. I know what he's talking about.
You know, like what Doom and stuff like that. And it's a shame because Quake would be an amazing movie. You know, that's such a cool idea. Dead Space, holy shit, Dead Space.
Here's my opinion on making some of these games that we're talking about movies is they're already pretty cinematic as it is.
Yes.
And I don't think they're worth making into movies because what you're already experiencing is a movie in itself. It's just it's a more playable version. It's more interactive. But I mean, BioShock that is known for its story, and I think if you just try to make it into a movie, all you can do is ruin it.
Yeah.
It exists perfectly in the medium that it is.
But what you can do is you can tell stories that are adjacent to that and kind of explore the universe more. That's what I want to see.
That would be cool. Yes.
There's a really badass web series that Halo did for the release of Halo 4, and it kind of explored this whole I think it was like a military academy that comes under attack when the aliens invade Reach or one of the planets.
Oh yeah, Red versus Blue?
Motherfucker, no. Forward Unto Dawn. It was live action. They actually had actors, not fucking animations, and it was great. There was story, there was heart, there was something else at it, and then you get a little bit of fan service at the end with some really cool fights and stuff like that. But besides the point, let's get back to Event Horizon. We've gone off on one hell of a fucking tangent, guys.
No, it was a wonderful tangent, and it actually played in because the director himself has done so many video game movies. You have to discuss that because because obviously he's a fan of video games. Does he view films like he views video games? Does he want to have that
absolutely
same kinetic energy that a video game has? Do we see that throughout his films? Do we see that in Event Horizon? And we do. And that's the thing. It's like it's big, it's bold, it's over the top when it needs to be. But the characters, and Jay said this earlier, and I don't know if I agree or disagree with this, because I think Alien does spice up its characters. And at the end of it, Space Karen is the main one. To this one, we have each of the crew members has a distinct personality, and
do.
each of the crew members that matter do. And that's the thing I like about this movie.
Which crew members don't matter in Alien?
Evidently, there's 18
Baby
to
Bear.
21. But like, oh yeah. I don't know. Even him though, I liked. Like everyone had like their role in this movie. They were clearly defined. Were they in depth? No, they were caricatures. You know, they're stereotypes, but at the same time, they're good.
Yeah, I've heard one story. This is something like I heard that Cooper, played by Richard T. Jones, I heard in that 30 minutes that there was actually a love story between him and the new Ripley. Yeah, the new Ripley.
Yeah. She I love that actress, man. She was amazing in Nip Tuck.
Oh yeah.
She's really, really good. Beautiful.
I like the entire cast of this movie. I think they all do a really solid job. I like Cooper's character a lot. The guy Smith, the guy who blows up, that's the first angry shaved head white guy I've liked in a movie ever. Where I was like, immediately sold on him. I'm like, I like this dude. This dude gets it.
Yeah.
He didn't Malfoy in it.
I mean, he was superstitious too. That's the other thing is the characters buy into the superstition rather quickly, and I like that. The fact that they're like, this thing's haunted. It's a haunted house in outer space. You know what I mean? Like, there's something not good going on here, and I absolutely love that they were willing to be superstitious. And even though they're like, what are you talking about? There's got to be in that 30 minutes more build up to everything. And you know, Sam Neill's character, you know, I guess that's an homage to Alien. He's kind of like the what was the robot?
Ash.
Yeah. I think you said that to me the other day, Jay, that he was kind of a surrogate for Ash in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say because the ship is kind of like the xenomorph, and Ash wanted to keep the xenomorph alive, and Sam Neill. Oh, by the way, Jay, did you ever see Dead Calm? One of Sam Neill's first movies.
I saw it later on, the one with him and Billy Zane and Nicole Kidman. Yeah.
Yes, so good. Also, Sam Neill in Hunt for Red October. Amazing job.
Oh,
yeah, he's such a good actor. Anyway, can I? So I was praising the set design, which I think is amazing. I do have one issue with the set design. I wanted to see if you guys have the same feeling. The chair that the captain sat
I hate it. Hate that chair. Everything
weird.
about it, dude. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, I hate this fucking
Of all the
chair.
things, the fucking chair.
Oh, dude. The rest of the movie, great. That chair
Wasn't it
insane.
There was something
you're nitpicking when Ethan's calling you out for nitpicking.
But the chair is so odd looking because it takes not Samuel L. Jackson. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
So racist.
Damn,
Cancel me now.
Lawrence Fishburne. It reminds me of Spear. It's fine.
It takes Lawrence Fishburne's legs and it squishes them together, and then the chair is like wobbling the entire time as he's like going around for no reason. He's just like spinning around. Are we in the place now? Hey, come on, guys, we gotta get up there. We gotta get up there.
I'm with him on this 100%. That chair drove me absolutely insane until the end when Sam Neill was sitting in the chair. Bill Pullman. I'll give him another name too. Bill Pullman almost cast as that character, actually. But yeah, he's sitting in the chair, and it kind of does like it zooms in on him, or he's like sitting there. Like I was like, all right, that chair works for me, but otherwise, that chair
It's so weird.
drove me nuts. I was like, every scene with it in it, I was like, get rid of this fucking.
I thought that the chair design was basically a hey mom.
You boys in your silly movies.
It's a podcast where we're talking about chair design.
All she's hearing is me. So like she literally
Post Street
thinks I'm
podcast.
going.
I love that a post Street podcast
insane.
you do.
But the chair in this movie, I felt like it was heavily inspired by Flight of the Navigator, Disney classic. That also had a very cool looking chair design. And you know, I was like, oh, that reminded me of that. It was fun. Like I told you, this movie is almost like Ready Player One, and the fact that you can just see so many different things that Paul W.S. Anderson, but he's not like trying to rip everybody off. I don't think he's actually, trying to be malicious or anything.
It's probably more just stuff he likes.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And listen, there is a fine line between paying homage and ripping off, and it's you can go back and forth.
It's all in the eye of the beholder, honestly. Like I just read through you an entire thing that a ton of Alien fans would never even know that inspired Alien.
Dude, I
the
saw.
rule is if you like it, It's
not a
homage.
ripoff.
Yeah.
If you don't like it,
Yeah, you're ripping it off.
It's-
Yeah.
It's all the eye of the beholder.
If
Yeah.
I remember seeing Alien as a kid, watching it at my mom's house, and then years later on like Saturday afternoon, I saw It from Outer Space, and I was like, motherfucker, they ripped this movie off. You know, it's because it is almost. I mean, it's really the same movie.
No, it's basically. I'll put it this way: like I will put.
It's a
Alien,
remake.
I'll put Alien up there with The Fly '86.
Yeah.
Like just two of the greatest remakes and definitive versions of their respective films ever made.
Yep, I totally agree with you on that.
Ethan, though, you did not like this, and we haven't really discussed your reasons why. So we need to kind of get over to you and
I
find out.
had a few different issues with it. There was some stuff I did like. Of course, the set's cool. The chair, I'm with Jay. I think the chair is cool. But
He thinks the chair is cool, Mom.
Oh, your boys in your podcasts.
I think the thing that really made
tell about my chair. Tell about my chair.
My
Mama,
chair has a zebra design.
no, maybe this was
I
just the
don't know why
recording
I
you
make,
sent.
I make your mom sound like an old Jewish lady from like Brooklyn. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
Oh, no!
David,
You
The chair
insulted him
froze.
so much he froze.
No. All right, go
It's
ahead.
the
Ethan.
COVID.
No.
The COVID vaccine kicked in.
Okay. Yeah, the audio mixing in this movie
There
is
you go.
absolutely horrible. Like, any sound effects, audio, music, whatever, it is cranked to 11, and all the voices, you have to constantly turn the movie up to hear them because they're speaking at a low whisper. So, I would turn it up to hear whatever the fuck Lawrence Fishburne was mumbling or whoever, and then next thing you know, sudden jump scare and it's just...
I think a lot of movies from like the late '90s are kind of prey victim to that. Like, a Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts, Dark City. A lot of movies right around that area, they have that same kind of like Dolby problem.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was the beginning of DVD, so they weren't really remastered. So I mean,
So-
at least the ones I've seen.
Again, a lot of these complaints are going to be kind of from someone now looking back, not from seeing it when it came out. I didn't really care for the scientist being the bad guy. That's been overplayed so many times, and I
Yeah,
know
but I like Sam Neill being the bad guy.
Me
That's what
too.
did it for me.
Agree.
Sam Neill.
He did
brought
good,
such
but-
gravity.
it was one of those things of they're constantly having like sowing distrust with him that I felt like the movie was trying to have me be surprised with him being the bad guy at the end, but at this point it's like, well, every time they go to him asking what the fuck is going on, he gives them another breadcrumb. So why would I not expect him to be the bad guy at this point?
He was the only character that had an arc. Like everyone else is pretty much the same.
Yep.
And his character like started off really mousy and kind of weak and like having nightmares to like being like fucking Pinhead.
This movie does not handle the passage of time well whatsoever. 20 hours of air, then they suddenly have 17, and then 10, and then 4. And meanwhile, while they're bitching about all that, the lady, they have to collect those CO2 filters, and they're taking them back to the ship that they just fixed. Well,
Alien ripoff.
here's my question. They only have 20 hours of air in that ship, yet they're pulling the CO2 filters from there to take to their other ship for a multiple month trip back to Earth. How did they clean the fucking filters all of a sudden? That doesn't, they should have constant air or not. Cut them off.
I love the way your brain thinks.
Like, I don't get it. But
You know what you need to be, Ethan? You need to be that guy on set that tells the director shit like
Continuity.
that. Yeah,
Like
you need to be
technical-
continuity guy.
yeah.
Dude, you would be
Technical consultant.
awesome.
That's
Yes.
why he's the tech guy.
But what I
Yes.
will give them,
And then they would create a character named after you that they would rip apart.
And then they murder at the end.
they literally, yeah, I would get killed at the end.
Yeah, and then they would give you the body, which is more than I can say they did for Jason Isaacs in this movie when he asked for his eviscerated body. So I think that there's a real future there. Is what I'm trying to say.
What I
What's
can
that
give this
famous
movie,
story
though,
about James Cameron, where a production assistant comes up to him and is like, "Mr. Cameron, so in this scene right here, if you do this and this, it doesn't quite make sense in reality." And he just looks at him and he's like, "It's a movie. Shut up."
Titanic. It was Titanic. It was
Yeah.
Titanic when
Yeah.
they wanted to save Leonardo DiCaprio because some PA's daughter was like, "I love Leo." It's like Leo's dead. Get over it.
Ethan, what else though?
What I can
It's a
give
valid point.
credit to this movie, though, is Miller, when he is going after, I forget the kid's name, he's about to eject himself out the airlock. The instructions he's spouting out to him, close your eyes, curl up into a ball, let out all your air. Those are
cool.
actual things you should do if you're about to get blasted out of an airlock. And he did none of those things, so he almost died.
He did. He pushed out the air at the very last second.
He did the best he did.
But
He did the best.
he kept
curly
his
ball
eyes
he could.
open. He kind of just...
In the beginning, yeah, but it's also, I'd say, this is one of the first movies that really, like, in real time showed the effects of space on
Yes.
skin. Whether or not it was good looking or not, at least it
Either
tried.
way, that was really accurate, and that made me happy. So, I
But
was
did the
impressed with
movie?
that.
Did the movie scare you, Ethan?
No, not at all. This movie was
Really?
taking cheap shots left and right, and I just became numb to it after the second jump scare.
Did you have the lights off at 2:30 in the morning while watching?
That is oddly specific, but no.
Well, that's why Austin and I watched it, and then I'm pretty much the same way I
I'm
watched
sorry
it.
I didn't hop on the 2:30 in the morning with the
The
lights off
recipe
train.
for success is being 23 years old, slightly high at 2:30 in the morning.
Were
watching
you
this for the first
slightly
time.
high? That's the other
One out of
thing.
3 isn't bad. Anyways, yeah.
I think
So-
what's interesting about this movie is the Lawrence Fishburne character. It almost felt like the Wachowski brothers saw this movie and were like, "We want him in the Matrix,"
Yeah.
because it's almost like the same character. And
yeah.
I really don't know much about Lawrence Fishburne's career before this. Like, I know he did Apocalypse Now when he was like 16 years old.
He was on Pee Wee's
But-
Playhouse.
But that's right. Was he
Well,
always like this character, or
He was in one of his earliest breakout movies was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, where he played the orderly, and he's talking to Heather Langenkamp, and he's like, even if I could let you know those kids, I wouldn't. No way, no how. Like, he's always had a very strong presence.
yeah?
And,
Stoic.
be stoic to a like. I put it this way, I think Lawrence Fishburne would have killed in the original Alien. Like, literally,
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
have just been like, I think he would have out stoiced a couple of the other castmates. So there would have been a fight. But at the same time, I've always thought that this Lawrence Fishburne could literally order ham on rye at Subway, and it would be like mesmerizing.
Oh yeah.
I've always felt like he was the strongest character in the Matrix series. I always was drawn to him more than I was Neo and the girl.
He was a good anchor for those movies. And he really is. He's almost like the narrator in those movies, just like how he is in this. He brings you in this movie as well. They talk about the audience character, and I think for me, the audience character in Event Horizon is definitely Cooper. Cooper is the character that is getting to do all the most fun things. He is flying through outer space.
That
He's
was
surviving.
hilarious.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, another reason I don't think that Ridley Scott could ever have directed a movie like Event Horizon is because I don't think he could ever have this much fun. Like, that's what I think about Paul W.S. Anderson. He makes fun movies, and I think like he's always been this kind of like court jester of directors.
Yeah.
And to bring back in what I'll go ahead and bring back all the things David said. I mean, after this movie, he did Aliens versus Predator. Fun, not good. Fun.
No.
It's
And then
popcorn.
all the Resident Evils, good, not good,
Fun.
fun. They're not life changing.
He's a popcorn director.
Popcorn.
Yeah.
He's a
and,
popcorn
and,
director.
and you know what? And he's just fine with it. He's got one of the hottest women on the planet as a wife. He is winning.
Who's that?
Mila
Mila
Jovovich.
Oh, he's married. Oh shit.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Dude, that's my
why-
first
why-
pick.
Austin's like, this
why do you
guy's
think
winning
she-
always.
She's in all the Resident Evil movies.
You
sure.
can never say a bad word about this guy again.
And,
Constantly winning.
and if he wants everything to be okay, it'll stay that way.
And Jay, and coming back to what I was saying before, most of his movies make a shit ton of money.
He's had a few duds. This is one
Yeah.
of his duds, but yeah, for the most
Yeah.
part, yeah.
Monster
He-
Hunter could have. It came during a terrible time in
Yeah,
our
that's
society.
a bad timing.
Death Race. I loved his take on Death Race. I thought it was Jason Statham driving. You can't really go wrong with that. I never saw Shopping, and it was his very first movie.
Yeah, it's
but
his first movie.
But like, yeah, this and that, yeah, I was totally fine with it. Totally just hey, let's do it.
You're right, though. He does popcorn filmmaking. That's what he does. And
Yeah.
you know what? There's room for every kind of filmmaker. And this, he has his niche, and he's in there. He's in the pocket, and he's making these movies. And like I said, I'm totally fine with it. But I do think this movie's got a little bit more than his other movies. This movie's got more character and just a little bit more horror to it. And I appreciate it. From the suspense to the jump scares, I had my hands in front of my eyes.
There was nothing but jump scares in this, dude.
No,
all these suspense was built from the visions that they had that would just randomly pop up throughout the movie.
Once again, you can see through it.
Listen, but those weren't jump scares to me. I mean, those were every once in a while you get flashback to the visuals. But what haunted me that most, the first night I watched it, was when they finally decompressed the visual on that found footage, and it's like that just fucking left me just feeling gross and just like just because jump scares have never scared me in horror movies, and that's always been why I'm not a big horror movie guy. And this movie hit me in a way that no other horror movie ever did, where it was just you know what, maybe The Exorcist the first time I watched it, and she goes down the stairs
that's a deleted scene though.
But when the first time I watched it, it was with that scene in the movie, and that kind of left me feeling the same way, just kind of like bothered, disturbed.
Go ahead, David. What were you gonna say?
Just be glad he didn't direct X-Men. That's all I'm saying. I think we dodged a really big bullet here, guys, and I think that's why I would recommend Event Horizon, because watch the movie that prevented Paul W.S. Anderson from directing X-Men, because God knows what would have happened to that series if that would have happened.
Does this movie have a happy ending? Do you think that they got away from it, or do you think it just continues to consume every ship that comes by to rescue them? I think if the ship is, the core's blown up, right? The cube, the portal, the roof.
Yeah, the portal's blown up.
The gyro, if you will.
I think so. I think it's a happy ending.
The front end of the ship is still part of that possessed craft that came back from hell. I think, they've still got the front end of the Event Horizon. I think that it's not over.
Yeah. What do you think, Jay? Do you think it's over, or do you think it continues?
I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
And you can with a brand new Event Horizon TV show.
Yeah, I'm telling you, as much as I hated this movie, I'm going to watch the shit out of that TV show. I will watch it.
I think it would be a good video game. If he's good at making video games, make a video game out of this.
It's basically what Dead Space is. Dead Space is
Dead
very,
Space has
very
a
much...
constant monster, though. Aren't they like, necromorphs or something like that?
But Dead Space is about opening up a portal to hell, where those necromorphs come from. So it kind of has that same vibe.
So is Doom, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And Quake.
The difference is just the fucking music that plays.
Yeah. Dude, did you guys all play Dead Space?
Yes.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, so fucking good. That first, especially the first one.
That's a movie. That's a video game that really marries the world of like The Thing, Alien, and Event Horizon
all together.
One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One beautiful little.
Doom 3
beautiful marriage.
Doom 3 and Dead Space, the developers have said Event Horizon is one of the inspirations for it. So this movie, as I said before, is a cult movie that has...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, and also found footage.
That's right.
Earlier. It's definitely one of the first found footage movies, where found footage plays such a pivotal role in everything else. Absolutely. And then, obviously, I think it definitely inspired The Matrix. Even worse than X-Men, could you imagine if they let Paul W.S. get his hands on that? John Leguizamo would have been Neo.
I'll take it. I love John Leguizamo. And by the way, I was going to say earlier, favorite video game movie, Super Mario Brothers, 100%. Love it.
Well, if you've seen The Dark Tower, then you've seen Super Mario Brothers the movie. The plots are literally mirror images of one another.
That's awesome. Guys, anything else you want to say about this movie?
It looks amazing today. Take away the CGI. If you look at the set pieces, it still looks amazing today. And the fact they did it in 10 months is mind-blowing.
Right.
I think it has a lot of really good dialogue in it. Not a bunch of good dialogue, but I think some of the lines you pointed out in Our Names at the beginning that you used in Our Names were awesome lines throughout it.
My
especially the
favorite
one about
one
hell.
Was "We're leaving." That is the most sensible thing I've ever heard a horror movie character say. It's just,
But
we're leaving.
there's one line in here that I thought was a little silly, and it was when Sam Neill is walking. He walks out of the room, and Lawrence Fishburne chases him and says, "Hey there, mister." And I was like, that doesn't really fit there.
Yeah, that was...
Hey, mister, you come back and talk to me.
Don't you walk away from me, mister.
That definitely has an old white guy in his 50s dialogue kind of writing. Hey, Shane, why I oughta you stop talking to me here?
Ridiculous. All right, let's go to recommendations. Let's start with Ethan. Ethan, what do you say? Recommend it or no?
It's a pass from me. It does not hold up. The CGI does not look good. The set is probably the only decent thing I have to say. Aside from the couple points I mentioned earlier, it's not worth watching to me. I'd rather go sit and watch Alien again, honestly, or even just anything else.
Don't say Thanksgiving.
Anything else, honestly. I mean, there was points I laughed. There was some stuff, but it did not scare me. This was not really horrifying. It didn't really make sense. Maybe that was because of the whole mythic heaven and hell mythos they tried to weave into the
or the half
sci-fi
an hour that's
stuff.
missing.
Yeah, the half an hour, maybe that would have fixed it, but yeah, no, pass from me.
Oh, dang. David, how about you?
I don't like this movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but I think it's a gorgeous looking movie, and I think it's a great sci-fi horror movie because there's not a lot of sci-fi horror movies out there. And so, yeah, I totally recommend this movie, even though I don't like it. I know that sounds weird, but yeah, I recommend it. You like sci-fi horror? Watch this movie because I think it's going to be right up your alley.
Right on. Austin, your birthday pick, and he said what you said earlier. Do you recommend it?
So I watched it 2 weeks ago to get ready for today. And then today I went back in and I was just going to skim through and skip ahead and just kind of go through the movie and just kind of get the pacing again in my head. And I ended up watching the whole last hour of it again because I just got wrapped up in it again. So yes, I recommend it.
That's awesome.
I enjoy the movie.
Jay, recommend?
Absolutely. 2 big thumbs up. Go into it with an open mind. I think it's a very important movie. I think it really is. I think it's more important than people give it credit for in the pantheon of. Obviously, I think it's obviously one of the best sci-fi horror movies, and it's just so batshit that you've got to give yourself at least one watch through.
And I'm going to say recommend 100%. What we didn't talk about was everybody owned this on DVD. Everybody had a copy of this movie. It was such a cult. That's why it has a cult following, because it was one of the first DVDs to ever come out that people could afford. And so every household I ever went to as a child had a copy of Event Horizon. And it was their like one adult film, and then they had all their Disney movies. So I don't know if you guys remember that. Also, if you need to buy a copy of it, you can find it at any thrift store because they made 80 billion copies of this movie. And David, you thrift like I thrift. You probably see Event Horizon every time you go to the DVDs, don't you? Yes.
And you know what? It's also a great movie when you're having your friends over and you're smoking pot and you're having a party. It's a great background movie because it looks great. I love the fact that also it's one of the first films to really delve into the techno music of the time. It had that killer song by Prodigy at the end, which was just a great techno song. Yeah, man, it's a great like get stoner, put it on the background looking thing. Again, I don't like it. I don't think it's a good movie, but and I would definitely agree with Jay. I do think it's one of the most influential movies. I mean, when you influence a huge video game, when you influence Doom, when you influence Dead Space, that is very influential. That's a huge deal, man.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for a lot of people to look at a movie they don't like and still recognize, like, you know what, that has a place with audiences out there. I see why people like that, but not my thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we were talking about him as a director. He has a place. He has a place. He's not the Paul Anderson that's directing Boogie Nights and getting Academy Awards. But you know what? There's people out there who fucking hate Paul Anderson movies. They can't stand, There Will Be Blood, but they'll watch the Resident Evil. Honestly, I had no idea there were that many Resident Evil movies starring Mila Jovovich. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
And they have made like close to $1 billion. It's crazy how much money they've made. So, hey, props to him, man. Props to him.
100%. All right, boys, let's get the clips. Let's do it. Let me know if everyone can see that.
Yep.
We just have clips of Jolie Richardson and just look into her eyes.
I mean, we can. If you want to go back to the movie. I like this opening, going past the Paramount.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And the music, this is the one place where the music really stuck out.
Get your glow sticks out.
Done and done.
Yeah! No!
Premonition.
A lot of good, that's such a cool shot. It's got so many good shots. It's like a stripper. It's pretty to look at. You just don't want to get inside.
Not until we go down to Harry Hines. Figure it out.
Yep. Ross Avenue, bro.
Locked and cocked.
You got a chorus play.
Look at that stupid chair. I hate that
I love it.
I hate it so much.
I'm so
You know,
happy
I'm going
me
to
and
side with
Jeff.
Ethan on this one. I like it.
I like the chair.
Watch it wiggle around.
Locked and cocked and ready to rock.
I just can't stand it. Suspense. Stupid fucking chair. All right, suspense. What a great fake out.
I'm waiting.
Don't like it. Don't
Dude,
like it.
All the shit they do with eyes in this movie is just fucking awesome to me.
The
I
eyes
like
have
it.
it.
The way they're hollowed out.
The eyes have it.
And now do you see?
Coffee. This is a great line.
What about you, Star? Would you like something hot and black inside you?
Hell yeah.
Ooh, is that an offer?
It is not.
Then how about some coffee then?
Dark.
All right, so there was a love story
Yeah,
between them.
Oh,
right?
yeah, right from the beginning. Yeah.
We need to make that movie.
Wait,
David,
are you talking
you-
about a porn?
David, Jessup, you and me.
Okay.
We will make the Missing Link movie, and we will
I'm in.
we'll make it happen.
Can we call it black holes?
But we've got to get Richard T. Jones and Jolie Richardson.
Yes. Reprise the roles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll get some de-aging technology. I'm sure Ethan has some AI he can use.
Oh, yeah, let me just,
Got some
Hack
deep
into the
fake.
mainframe?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm so happy you made the joke because I was about to. Black holes.
Imagine for a minute that this piece of paper,
Excuse me. That's Vanessa and that's mine.
attractive piece of paper, represents space-time, and you want to get from point A here to point B there.
I do love how in the future in both Alien and this movie that
Paper.
everyone fucking smokes.
No, not only that,
Everyone's-
and everyone's smut is still in print.
Yeah.
No one's made the leap to
Yeah.
digital. It's either magazines or it's
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, there's
you-
no internet in space, Jay, so of course you're going to have to take
Yeah.
hard
There's,
copies.
yeah. There's no Wi-Fi,
do-
bro.
how do y'all know that?
Good point. He just put us on our place again.
fuck!
Floaty shit. It looks so bad. That CGI is not holding up.
It's the giant nut. That's the part, the bolt there. That really throws it all away.
Were you guys talking about black
Because
holes?
this right
again?
here doesn't look bad.
See, I almost think, like, what I would expect is this is one of those movies you'd wear the cheap red and blue 3D glasses with, and that's why there was so much pandering 3D shit.
3D
Well, you
was
know-
long since dead before
The,
the
Yeah.
came out.
the thing is about you got to remember back in 1997 when CG came out, everyone had hard-ons for it, and everyone was like rushing to use it.
Any way they could.
And what movie made everyone get a super hard on for it?
Yeah,
Jurassic
Jurassic
Park.
Park.
Yep.
Well, and we wouldn't have the effects studios that we do today if it weren't for these guys just trial and erroring
Yeah.
it.
Pushing,
Yeah,
back in the
somebody-
day.
pushing.
Yeah, somebody has got to fail
Yeah.
to make all
Yep.
these amazing works of art.
I mean, I think you have to watch a movie like this when it comes with the CGI. You have to watch it through the filter of this was 1997.
And it looked
Absolutely.
amazing in
Well, I mean,
1997.
that's
Yeah.
even
And
some of
that's
the
why
same...
I appreciate the. I'm sorry, Ethan, I didn't mean to.
No,
cut
you're
you off.
good.
I
Go for it.
appreciate the CGI because I'm like, you know what? It doesn't look the best, but I'm like, I recognize like what the painstaking process they had to go through to make that, and I actually like it makes me appreciate the movie more.
Right, like I can look at Alien, sorry, and I can say how bad the suit
Hat
looks.
painting.
No,
Oh,
the suit, yeah.
Oh, the alien suit. Okay.
Yeah, but like but that movie came out, 2 years before I was born, and clearly it got better and better and better as the series went on. It's that you kind of have to just kind of give movies a little bit of a break. That's
Ethan's the same thing. Ethan, this movie came out 2 years before you were born. Go ahead and say what you were going to say. Ethan,
Okay,
do it.
So, this even leans into son of a bitch. This even leans into some of the stuff today, like the de-aging technology you supposedly think I have. A lot of that stemmed from Tron Legacy, for example, used that on Jeff Bridges, and it wasn't perfect. It was decent, but now you can get it pretty close to where you can recreate Carrie Fisher in some of the Star Wars movies or other things that they're going to go on and pretty much revive these now long since past actors to reprise these roles. And honestly,
Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian.
Absolutely.
I think,
Speaking of
Revenge of the
X-Men,
Sith.
they did the facial stuff in X-Men 3, X3 with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. That's like one of the earliest de-aging.
That's right.
And then a year before they did it on Revenge of the Sith with Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, so people
yeah.
got to fail before it actually takes form.
In Revenge of the Sith?
That's like one of the biggest Easter eggs at the end of Revenge of the Sith is you see Grand Moff Tarkin on the bridge of the Death Star.
Really? I don't remember that.
No.
Well, gotta go rewatch the whole prequels.
No, you don't, Austin. Don't.
On to the meat
You don't
grinder.
have to do that to
Good
yourself.
guys don't do a lot of women winning in the prequels.
Meat grinder.
Did you hear how that made the actors like dizzy?
Yes.
It's a carnival ride.
Yeah, that's a trip right there. But like that, literally, like I guess Lawrence Fishburne tried to run through the tunnel at the end of the movie, and he literally fell over. They couldn't get the shot because it was just disorienting.
Yeah, you have to run through it. If you ran through it like with your eyes closed, you would have been fine. Why didn't they listen to me?
Exactly.
Corpsicle.
That's the name of my new improv troupe.
Hell yeah.
Looks like it was caused by I don't know, an animal or something. Look at the damage to the subject.
Yeah.
Massive abrasions.
Corpsicle.
I like that. That was cool.
That was an actual very smart choice. One of the smartest choices Paul W.S. Anderson made is that the anti-gravity stuff was really expensive to do. So he goes, magnetic boots. And he fixed like so much of the movie with that one little choice. It was one of his smarter ones.
Did you guys hear the thing where they had a disgruntled special effects person on board, and he put a Barbie doll inside of that corpsicle? He got fired.
Wow.
And the first shot they did it, and the Barbie doll falls out, and they're like, God damn it. They had to redo the whole thing.
That's freaking awesome.
That's how you quit.
I'm calling bullshit on this.
On the chair.
Fuck that chair.
Take the Lewis and Clark 1,000 years to reach our nearest star. The Event Horizon could be there in a day.
If it worked.
You can come down. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah, it's not. The place is made out of fucking spikes. Call them bullshit.
It's pretty dangerous looking.
Yeah. Green crawlway.
That's cool looking.
It is badass.
It was kind of cool, but I was a little confused. It's like, oh, okay, they just surrounded him by like every fucking computer board they could find. Okay.
I love that shot because it's like a reverse Jaws shot.
Yes.
Whereas in Jaws, there's bringing in the camera while zooming out. That one, to make that hallway, just give it that length. Yeah, they pull out while zooming in, and it's a great effect.
Let's check it out.
Oh, that's so creepy. And then when the lights start going out, coming towards them.
Good stuff.
Be with me. Forever.
Fuck that. Get out, bro.
We're leaving.
A man on fire. This is not good CG, but I thought it was cool the way he comes up out of the water. That's got to be reversed, right?
I mean, they would have had to have lit him on fire and then lowered him down. So yeah.
That's the Burning Man, and that's one of their more intense effects they did for the entire movie. He's actually like probably 4 or 5 different effects put into one. He's definitely one of their more ambitious ones.
I like that backstory too, where he lost one crew member, he's not going to lose another. I thought that was great.
And then he loses everyone, including himself.
I mean, but
No, 2 survived.
3. Justin survived.
3, yeah.
So,
Baby bear. Baby bear.
And I'm sure a really
what the
shitty.
fuck was up with that? Mama bear, baby bear.
I'm sure a really shitty.
Let me guess, the
cat
30-minute
lived, too.
cutscene.
I'm sure like an annoying monkey mascot that PETA wouldn't let them use survived too.
Airlock. Here we go.
Miller, tell them to open the door.
We can't do that, Justin.
I don't want to die in here.
You're not gonna die.
I want to die in here.
Very carefully, and I'm gonna get you out of there.
That looks badass.
Oh my god.
You know who he kind of looks like? Do you remember something about Mary, the guy that was in like?
The British guy, the British guy.
Yes. I swore I thought that's who it was.
He's a big time. He was actually a big comedian.
The British guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
really funny.
Lee something.
Yep, very funny.
Jack Noseworthy was in the MTV Classic, Dead at 21, and of course Idle Hands.
Yep.
We're definitely watching Idle Hands. We're definitely watching that.
My eyes.
Don't think about him. Shut him.
That's cool.
Do it. No.
Simple effect, but it works. Just face them downwards and have them do that. But it might have been CGI a little bit too, but it was kind of cool.
Again,
I thought that was his eyes the first time I watched it.
Yeah, it's definitely fucked up. What were you saying, Ethan?
There's some truth to that. Like that would kind of vaguely be what it would be like if that. Again, the realism there is more or less on point in my eyes. So I appreciated that.
Hey, here's Ethan's favorite scene. A ball.
Yay!
Technically, we've already seen it, so we don't need to see it again. But it's right there. You're so right.
He's staring at it.
That could have been a pretty big end joke too.
Yeah, what if that's not a continuity error? That was just like a joke that an Easter egg they put in.
They're like, some nerd's gonna pick this apart 24 years from now.
Or another disgruntled employee who was like, I'm gonna put detonate on here.
I'll ruin the whole movie.
Yeah.
Ruin the shot.
This is the explosion that took up a huge portion of the budget.
Pretty good explosion.
Damn good explosion.
That is a good one.
I like that
Cooper.
explosion.
Even though they're in the fucking atmosphere of Neptune, he somehow gets blasted all the way out to fucking space.
You can also see wires in that last shot if you try hard enough.
This grossed me out. It's just gross.
That was cool, dude.
That was very cool.
Like, that shot right there has been recreated, or at least there's been homages to that in so many movies, shows, and games. Even BioShock, if I'm not mistaken, they used that exactly.
Yeah.
Chest open, hung up, it's so cool.
Did you hear the original? The way they originally shot it was he had his entrails still connected, and he was like moving around, and Lawrence Fishburne shot him in the head with that nail gun to put him out of his misery.
That would have been cool.
Oh shit!
I mean, that would have been horrible, but it would have been really cool.
Also, Paul W. Sanderson thinks that the body looked realistic enough, so he actually used Jason Isaac for the reflection part of that.
They actually gutted him on set.
Wow!
20.
Get out of the way, Daniel Day-Lewis.
It was
9 hours of reconstructive surgery.
It was another disgruntled special effects employee.
That's how he got Harry Potter. That's how he got to be in that classic franchise.
Wake up! That fucking chair.
Actually,
now it looks cool.
I think it's a different chair, guys.
It is a different. It's in a different room.
So yeah.
That's why the chair looks cool now.
We won't need eyes to see.
Where we're going, we don't need eyes to see.
You know, the more I'm watching these clips, maybe I need to go back and just watch this again because I am enjoying this.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, as a whole, it just didn't work for me.
Ethan, I don't know what it is, man, but there's something about Event Horizon. My entire life, it is one of the most polarizing movies that I've ever come across. Like, there are tons of Davids out there. There really
there
are.
could be only one.
Yeah, there's tons. I mean, like, it's really true.
I will Highlander the shit out of them.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, it's
Immortal Karens.
It's a cult classic. Dude. The blood.
Fuck me. Stop!
Boom.
It kind of looks like Slurpee, doesn't it? Looks like a Slurpee from the 7-Eleven. It has like the same.
That was a 7-Eleven ad, yeah.
Yeah. Said that was the worst
Product
ad
placement.
tie-in ever. Some guy got fired from 7-Eleven. I thought this would be really cool.
A disgruntled 7-Eleven employee.
Wasn't me.
No, your dad had been cornered. I watched him die.
Hellraiser.
Deadpool. Oh.
The ship brought me back. I told you she won't let me leave. She won't let anyone leave.
That's so good. And then the final scare.
8 hours to get into that bodysuit.
Yeah, but that looks like Hellraiser. Final scare.
It's all right. It's okay. You're safe now.
Justin, Cooper.
They're fine. They're fine. They're with us.
They're with us.
Get her. There it is. That's our clips, boys. So yeah, I like that Ethan has kind of been turned around on this. Oh, we're stop share. There we go.
I mean, then again, the clips, it's all the best parts of the movie, so maybe that's why, but I don't know. I think I'm going to need to go back and watch this one again to really make up my mind, but first watch through, nah. I'll stand by it.
Ethan, if I would watch it again and take away the idea that let the CGI, like don't try to get the CGI out of it and just enjoy the visuals of it.
Yeah.
And then don't worry about the fact that the story is kind of a mess at the end. Just enjoy the visuals and the gore, you know, as a horror sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I like visually this movie is stunning, and I mean we've been saying that throughout the whole cast, and the gore, what little of it is there, because I wish we would have that last 30 minutes of it.
Yeah,
because it just
something
is missing.
Did you guys know they hired the writer of Seven to come in and kind of punch up that hell scene?
No, I did not know that. Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a VHS tape that exists somewhere where the deleted scenes are on that, but everything was destroyed. So evidently that VHS is unwatchable too.
That sounds like an urban legend.
Yeah, it might be, but everything I was reading today, it was kind of in between. It was saying that it existed, but he never watched it. Then it said he watched it, and the video footage was just unusable. But then he has also said that the footage might exist somewhere out there. So you never know. Maybe we'll get a Snyder Cut version of this someday. That would be cool.
Road trip.
Yeah, let's find it.
They'll probably make up all their mistakes in the TV show. Maybe I'll sit down and watch that because they've got something interesting going on here. I mean, if that's not evident by me kind of doubling back a little bit and going, oh, well, that was cool. Maybe they'll be able to pull something out and make it amazing in the TV show.
Ethan, I hope this is a movie in 10 years you share with like your friend, like much like the movies that me and you watched together. Like I've been like, oh, you got to watch this one, or oh, you got to watch that one, or the whole purpose of this cast is to get you to watch these movies that you've never seen before. You know what I mean? I would love for you to share this movie someday with somebody. And
This
say,
is
like,
probably
you gotta
one I
watch it.
would share eventually, but it's low on the list of movies I'd go to first.
Thanksgiving
So,
first. That's all I'm gonna say.
No.
Well,
I like Thanksgiving, but it's nowhere near the top, bud.
I think you were at a slight disadvantage for this movie, Ethan, because like my first experience with it, I had no idea what the movie was. I just turned it on to watch a movie, and I had that experience with it. I think when you put on, you're kind of a more critical hat because you're going to do a podcast about it and you're being told to watch it, you kind of look at a movie differently.
Oh yeah,
and I think that might be what happened here.
That's probably it. I think you hit the nail on the head there, bud.
Well, let's do it. Let's do some recommendations. I've got two for us real quick, okay? First one, if you can see that, is going to be the movie Sunshine. All right, Danny Boyle directed this movie. Sunshine is a much more thrilling, interesting version of this movie. And I think everyone here who's seen it would probably agree with me that there are some beats that are very similar, definitely taking place in space. And as you can see from the clips,
Chris Evans?
It's so good, dude. Have you seen this movie before?
Mm-mm.
Sunshine, you've got to watch it, even up until the end where you have a kind of a villain that appears out of nowhere. It just works. David and Jay, and Austin, would you agree? Have you seen this movie?
Oh, I love this movie.
I've it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've not seen it, but I know it's Mr. Sunday Movie's favorite movie.
It is. It's basically. It's almost like the same plot of Event Horizon, where you have a ship that's disappeared and all of a sudden it reappears. It's kind of the same. Has the same kind of. Even though it's not the main plot of the story, it's in there. Visually stunning. Danny Boyle's a great actor. Captain America's in it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Scarecrow's in it.
Scarecrow's in it. Yeah, I fucking love Scarecrow.
It's a bomb movie.
And we're talking about the characters, not the actors. Like
Yeah.
Scarecrow. It's a crossover event.
The second recommendation, because I want to do space horror. This movie, I think, hits both space and horror in a way that no other movie has ever done so. This movie is called Jason X, and it
motherfucker.
It's Friday the 13th movie that is absolutely fucking worth your time. It is the final movie that has Kane Hodder as Jason, and it is so fucking good. It is pure schlock. It is so campy. It is so ridiculous.
This looks like Ethan made the special effects on his PC.
Hey, my PC would do better special effects than that.
Oh my god, the special effects in this are so bad.
They're so bad.
But if you watch like videos about Jason X, there are legions upon legions of people that are like, it's not even the worst movie of the Friday the 13th movies. Like, there's still at least 2 or 3 that are way worse than that.
I would say Jason Goes to New York and Jason Goes to
And now we are done talking to each other.
Did I say that I didn't like those movies? No, I love all Friday the 13th movies, just like I love all horror movies except for whatever one I didn't like so far, which I don't think there's been a single one.
I'm gonna go back in the 25 episodes we've now done, and we're gonna test that theory, Ducko.
I didn't like Perfect Blue until we started talking about it, and then I was like, you know what? It was a damn good movie, and Jay and Javi turned me around on that one. So
I love that movie. That was fun. That was really good.
With that said, guys, David, where can they find you on the internet here?
So Children of Dave on the Instagram, Stop Motion Nightmares on Facebook. I'll be at the Haunters Convention in Mesquite in July. I'll be at the Addison Improv on May 4th for Comedy from the Dork Side.
Whoop, whoop.
Come out for that. Thank you, Jay, for putting that together. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome.
And that's May the 4th, right?
May the 4th, yeah. I'm getting with Tyson. We're going to start writing. So I have some new jokes. I want to make sure I'm ready to go because I don't want to show up after being away for a year with all old material,
Do you like that we're bringing in Jerry Rocha?
I love it, man. It's oh my God, dude. It's awesome, man. It is a killer lineup.
We need to talk about getting some tickets out there. Yeah, we'll talk about that. As for us, you can find us at wearepodcast.podbean.com. You can find We Are Air, where we talk movies, entertainment, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. That's me, Jake, and Hobbs, breaking down pop culture. You can check out We Are Bagu, a video game podcast where we talk Atari to Steam. That's a badass logo. Atari to Steam and everything in between. That's me and Dr. Reverend Ethan Eastwood breaking down video game lore. Heroes Gyros, a Dungeons and Distractions side quest where we play some D&D. Hopefully, come summertime, we'll be able to play some more. That'd be super badass. You can join our Discord. Links can be found in the description. And you can find us every Monday here with Camp Slash Horrorcast at 8 p.m. live on Twitch where we talk horror movies. guys, this is the end of season 1. Next week we will start season 2. So thank you so much for being here for all 25 episodes. I think most of us have been here off and on, even myself. But we've been consistent. We've only skipped 2 weeks, and we'll make those up sometime in the future. But with that said, keep horror in your heart. And guys, thank you so much for this.
What's next week?
Next week will be season 2. Season 2, episode 1 will be the Monster Squad. So that is
never seen it. I'm super excited. I've never seen it.
Oh, David,
yeah.
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, not that I've not wanted to see it. It was just one of those movies that I just kind of missed it, and I've always wanted to see it. And I'm super excited.
I hope you don't get Goonie fever from it. I really
Truffle, baby. You got
it. There is a definite theory I have. It's called Goonie fever. Goonies is one of those movies that if you see it past the age of 15 for the first time, the magic's gone. It's almost like it. It's almost like it in real life. Once you get it past a certain age, you can go back. You can go back and watch it if you've already seen it and been oh man, I hope not. Ooh,
I hope not too.
I have a rebuttal to that, Jay, because you're right. The first time I watched Goonies, I tried watching it 8 years ago in my 20s, and I didn't enjoy it. I just couldn't get into it. But I did have a rewatch of it the other day with some friends, and I actually enjoyed the movie. It was really good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe in your 20s you were like, oh, this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. But as you got older, you're like, oh, this is nostalgia.
Oh, the fucking Goonies. Now you're like, oh, the fucking Goonies.
Listen, David's going to love Monster Squad because it's got all the classic Universal monsters, so he's going to be there for it. It's going to rock. All right, guys, with that said, thank you so much again for doing the podcast for this entire season. Thank you for listening. With that, Ethan.